Is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, it is. It's not visible.
Yeah, you continue. Yes, we can start.
Yeah. So good evening, everyone. We are back with the session on cloud fundamentals with Sheetal Gawande ma'am with us. She is an assistant professor in Department of Computer Engineering at Pillai's College of Engineering, New Panvel, with experience over 17 years in teaching and having expertise in various domains like computer networks and cloud computing. She has also published various papers in international reputed journals and conferences, and also has worked as a paper reviewer in a number of conferences. So she's here to enlighten us with her knowledge. Without further ado, ma'am, handing over the session to you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am, for joining us today. And let me tell, Sheetal ma'am is an active contributor to our community of Cybersecure India. She's also as part of Pillai College of Engineering, and she has done a lot of MOUs and other things also with us for their college. And a lot of Pillai College students are also there into our session every batch. So again, thank you very much, ma'am, for your active contribution towards the community.
Yeah. I also thanks to Nikhil sir and CSI provide me the platform to and give me the opportunity to present myself and shared my knowledge to everyone. Thank you very much. Let's start with the session today. Good evening to all. Take as per your convenience, whether it is good morning, good afternoon. In India, it's good evening. Good evening to all. So let me share my screen and we will start with the session today. So today's session is about cloud fundamental. Because whatever the next sessions you are getting, I think that is with respect to the cloud security. So before that, you should understand what are the different basic concepts or basic fundamentals of cloud. So today I am here to present on cloud fundamentals, right? So first we will start with what is cloud, why cloud, and what are the various deployment model, what are the different service models. So basic fundamentals we are going to study today. Right? So I will quickly share what are the different uh, topics we are going to cover. Okay, so these are the topics today we are going to cover. The first, why cloud, what cloud computing is, then what are the different service model, what are the different deployment model, then what are the different cloud providers, and what are the different cloud services available to the user. And once you are getting the knowledge about this one, it will be quite easy to understand how the cloud security should apply, right? How you can secure your cloud, or what are the different ways, not secure, but what are the different ways you can find out to secure your cloud, whatever the data you are storing on your cloud, what are the infrastructure you are having on the cloud, right? What are the storage structure you are having in the cloud, right? So this is basically a fundamental class. In that, we are going to study the fundamentals of cloud, right? So you before that, is my Word document is visible right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So before going to the cloud, we will first understand what is before cloud. When the cloud was not there, what how the technology work, how we can share the data, how we can deploy the various application, how we use that application remotely, and all these things, right? So before that, we have to understand the concept of a typical data center. Before that, before going to the cloud, we have to understand uh, the concept of typical data center, right? So all of you or most of you know about the data centers, right? So in data centers, we are having the rack, like the various racks. In that, various servers are placed over there. They are isolated from each other, and they are working independently, whatever the servers we are having at the data center. So what typical data center is? In data center, we can say it is a collection, or we can say it is a one geographical location or room where lots of servers are placed. Okay. And in that server, we are having the storage structure, the networking, and all these things, right? And they are used by the various business organization to store their data, to store their application, as well as to access that data from that data center or from that particular server. So this is a typical data center scenario, right? So when anybody or wants to start the business, when anybody wants to start the business, specifically I'm talking with respect to technical business, right? I'm not talking about that vada pav center and all these things, right? So strict to the technical terminology. So when anybody wants to deploy any web application, or start anybody wants to start any e-commerce or m-commerce business, right? So for that, what it required for deploy any e-commerce or a m-commerce business, or any e-commerce or a m-commerce web application, what we required, well, we first required the server. We require the servers, right? Along with that servers, we will require the storage structure also, right? Along with that, we will require some network, right, to access the data, right? In that, in network, it will cover everything, that whatever the various networking components are there, the bandwidth and all these things, right? So basically, when you want to start any e-commerce or m-commerce business, and when you want to deploy any web application for that business, you will require these three things, that is a server, storage, and network, right? So when you start or when you want to start any business, you will require this one. And when you're thinking to buy all these things, right? The server. So we have to buy some servers along with some storage structure, and we have to establish a network connection between that, so that whatever the web application you are storing on the server will be accessible by the user from anywhere, right? So when you're thinking about the cost will be more, right? So the first you have to go with the to the vendor, find out the various servers as per your requirement, right? Then you have to purchase that particular server. Then once you purchase, you have to put that server somewhere else, right? So a typical room structure, room like structure you will require, that we call it is an data center. And at that data center, you have to put all these servers, make a connection, network connection between them, so that it will work properly, or it will be accessible, right? So this is the second issue you will get. The first thing, that is an purchase one. So you have to purchase that server. Then you have to place that server somewhere else, right? So that means you will require some location also, geographical location, that we call it is a data center where we can store, we can put all these servers, right? So this is a second. After that, you purchase the server, you got a data center or that room like structure, and you put all these servers and make a connection between them. After that, you will deploy your web application over there. Now, the third thing come into the picture, that is an maintenance. The third thing coming to the picture, that is an maintenance. So whatever the server you have purchased, you have to maintain that. So that IT administrator or a maintenance engineer you will require. You have to appoint the maintenance engineer who will do the maintenance. Again, that maintenance should be at regular interval of time. It should be at regular interval of time, so that your business should run smoothly. So that is again an issue. Right. So this is about the scenario before cloud computing. So when anybody wants to start any e-commerce or app commerce business, they have first purchase all these infrastructure. They have to assemble them, and after that they have to maintain them. Right. So these are the some challenges the people are facing when they want to start the e-commerce and m-commerce business before cloud computing. Before cloud computing. So what we are getting, the first thing, that is, and the cost. The cost will be more, definitely. Then the next issue that we are having with the typical data center, as I explained you, that is a disaster recovery. As any earthquake or any disaster happens, right? The flood, the earthquake. So how you recover your data, or how you recover your servers, or whatever the loss you are getting via a disaster, right? So that is again an issue with the typical data center, right? Then there will be the provisioning part, right? So once you got all these setup and you are running your business, sometimes it may happen that whatever the servers you are having, they are sometimes under provisioning or sometimes over provisioning. What that means? Under provisioning, that means whatever the servers you are having, they are not running, or some servers from that are ideal for long term. Right? So they are under provisioning. That means you are not getting that much users visiting to your web application. So the most of the time your servers are under provisioning. Then sometimes it may happen that there will be the over provisioning. So that is again an issue with the your uh, typical data center, right? Then after that, there will be the scalability. As your business grow, you should increase the number of servers. Fine. Again, once you thinking about increasing the number of servers, again you will require the more that room space you have to increase. Again, the maintenance cost will be more, and all these things, right? The scalability, that is an again an issue. Then the next issue that you are getting with respect to your typical data center, that is an hardware replacement. That is an hardware replacement, right? So once you are appointing that IT administrator or that maintenance engineer, he or she will ask you that this hardware has to replace and this one. So when you are thinking about the e-commerce and m-commerce business, it should be run 24/7. But some issue will happen with your hardware, and that hardware should also be replaced at the same moment of time, right? So again, it will be quite difficult to maintain all these things at the typical data center. So this is hardware replacement, again an issue. Then the next issue, that is an upgrades about your hardware and the software. Upgrades about the hardware and the software, right? So these are the various challenges we can say when we are having a typical data center and when anybody wants to run e-commerce or m-commerce business at its own, right? Now, what is the solution for this problem? What is the solution for this problem? Now, the solution is to use the cloud computing. Okay? The solution to this problem is the cloud computing. So, your typical data center will be replaced with the cloud, and we can access the data which are stored on the cloud from anywhere without bothering about the maintenance and about the upgradation of software, about the scalability and all these things. So we will learn one by one. Get it? So this is about the typical data center, and these are the challenges. That first challenge you are getting, that is the cost, then disaster recovery, then provisioning, the scalability, hardware replacement, and the upgrades one. So these are the various challenges you are facing. Now, after that, what come into the picture? There is a virtualization. Come into the picture, that is that virtualization. What you are getting into the virtualization, you can create a virtual instance of yourself. You can create a virtual instance of your server, and you can create multiple virtual instance of your server. You can create a multiple virtual instance of your server, right? So it provide virtualization provide multiple machine to the user. The first advantage you are getting for virtualization is it provides multiple machine to users, right? And the second advantage you are getting, that is sharing a single physical key. So these are the two advantage we are having to the virtualization. Now, this virtualization play a very important role in cloud computing. Whatever the game played by cloud computing, it is based on your virtualization. Okay, whatever the game played by the cloud computing, it is through the virtualization. We can say the virtualization is the backbone of the cloud computing. So it provides multiple machines to the user and sharing a single physical instances, sharing a single physical instances. So how we can have, so I will quickly draw one diagram over here, or we can say what we are having a typical infrastructure for virtualization. So at the bottom one, we are having underlying hardware. On top of that, we are having the operating system. You are quite familiar with it. This is a simple computer organization. We are having underlying hardware, right? And on top of that, we are having the operating system. We call it is a host operating system. On top of that, what we are having the hypervisor. On top of that, we are having the hypervisor, which will help you to create a virtualization environment. So this is typical infrastructure. Your computer organization, you are quite familiar. Your underlying hardware is there. On top of that, you are having the operating system. It may be the Linux, it may be the Mac, it may be the Windows, whatever it is. But this is the hardware. On top of that, we are having the operating system. On top of that, we are having the hypervisor, which will help us to create a virtualization environment, And on top of that, we can create a virtual machine. We can create a virtual machine 1, we can create a virtual machine 2, we can create a virtual machine 3 as per your requirement and as your operating system, or sorry, not operating system, as your hardware support. Okay, whatever the underlying hardware you are having, as per that capability, we can have multiple virtual machines on the hypervisor we can create. So this is the typical scenario that computer organization we can have with the virtualization. So your underlying hardware is as it is, your operating system is as it is. On top of that, we are having the hypervisors, which is nothing but a software. We can call it is a software, system software, and which will help you to create a virtualization environment, Oracle VirtualBox, you are quite familiar with that. VMware, you are again quite familiar with that. Then there is a KVM, which is specially for Linux one. That is again a type of hypervisor, right? There are Zen hypervisor, right? Then there is a VXI, that is again an hypervisor. Hyper-V, which is specially designed by Microsoft. So these are again the various hypervisors, right, which are available in the market that you can use to create a virtualization environment, And on top of that, we can have different virtual machines. You can run multiple virtual machines. And these virtual machines are isolated from each other. They are isolated from each other, right? So what the number of virtual machines that you can run on different hypervisor, that depends on the underlying hardware, how it supports, right? So this is about the virtualization, and whatever the cloud computing, that game of cloud computing run based on the virtualization only, right? So virtualization, it is a backbone for your cloud computing. Virtualization, it is a backbone for the cloud computing. Next. Now come to the term cloud computing. What is cloud computing? So I will divide these terms, the cloud computing, in two different parts. The one is cloud and the second one is an computing. One is cloud and the second one is an computing one. Now, what is cloud? The cloud, in the cloud, you are getting unlimited storage. You are getting unlimited storage. We are getting unlimited storage. And what is computing? What do you mean by the computing? Way of accessing the resources. Way of accessing the resources. So here unlimited storage, along with that we are getting various resources also. In general term we call it is an resources. Now we are dealing with the IT resources. That means we are getting various servers, the storage, the network, right? So these are the different resources we are having. So what the cloud means, that is unlimited storage or the resources you are having. And what do you mean by the computing? So way of accessing that resources, how we can access that resources, right? So that is a further than computing. Now combining these two, what will be the definition for cloud computing? What will be the definition for cloud computing? So cloud computing, it is a pool of resources. It is a pool of resources like your servers, storage structure, networking devices, various your operating system, and you can access that resources via internet. You can access that resources via internet. So this is the definition for cloud computing. Getting? So again, so when the cloud computing, these are the two, if we bifurcate or divide these two words separately, one is cloud and the second one is computing. So the cloud, it is unlimited storage or resources you are having, and what is computing means way of accessing the resources, way of accessing the resources. Now, once you getting this clear, so how you define a cloud computing? So this is a pool of resources. Now, when it is a rich pool of resources, what are the different resources available? There are servers, the storage, the network. These are the various resources available, and you are accessing that resources via internet. You are accessing that resources via internet. So that is your cloud computing. That is your cloud computing. I think basic are clear. Now we will move towards our cloud one. Faisal, can you confirm PPT is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
So, come to the definition of cloud computing. So, it is a model for enabling ubiquitous, convenient, on-demand network access to a shared pool of configurable computing resources. Now, here I elaborate it very systematic way so that each and everything will get clear. So now what are the different resources we are having? That network, server, storage, application, various services that can be rapidly provisioned and released with minimal management effort or service provider interaction, right? Now here we are getting one new term that is called as an on-demand, right? So what is on-demand? So whenever you require that you can call. This is an on-demand one. It is not available every time. So whenever you require, you have to call and it will be available to you. It will be available to you. And once it is an on demand, so you whatever the charges you have to pay, it will be as per the use. It will be as per the use. So whatever you use, that for that you have to pay. It is also called as pay as you use model. Pay as you use model, or pay as you go model. Pay as you go model, right? So this is the definition for cloud computing, which is quite simple. Once you understand the concept, you can design your own definition for cloud computing, which will include this terminology. Now, what are the different features of cloud computing? So the first is resource pooling we are having. So as I explain you, various multiple resources are stored at one place, and you can share that resources. So resource pooling is there. Then there will be on-demand self-service. On-demand self-service. This is the second feature. So where you can demand as per your requirement. The third one, it is easy of maintenance because everything will be maintained by the cloud provider. User doesn't have to do anything, as the case is typical data set. Then large network access we are having. Then availability, automatic system, it's economical, the security, pay as you go, as you explained, and the major services. So you can have that metric or for your services also, you can measure your services, what is used, what not used, how much use network bandwidth, how many network bandwidth is used, how much network bandwidth is used, whether it is up, how for what time or for what a particular period of time it is up, when it is down, and all these things. So major services are also there. So these are the features of cloud computing. Now, this is an important one. What are the deployment model? How we can deploy our cloud, or how we can deploy our application in the cloud. Now, basically, in cloud computing, there are four deployment model. The first one, it is public cloud. Then there will be the private cloud, hybrid cloud, and the community cloud. Okay? Public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and the community cloud. The first we will talk about the public cloud. So name itself implies what is public cloud. Okay. So when it is a public one, when we say it is a public one, that means it is open for all. It is open for all. Now in this picture, the idea will get more clear about the public cloud. So how it means open to all, that means whatever the application you're storing or whatever the resources you are having on a cloud, specifically on a public cloud, specifically on public cloud, who will access that? Who will access that? So when it is a public cloud, that means it is accessible to all. It is accessible to all. It is accessible to all, right? So here in that diagram, you are getting there is no boundary. There is no boundary to access that public cloud, right? So everyone can access the data or the resources which are available on that particular cloud, So it will be available to all the users and it will be accessible to all the users. So that is a public cloud. What are the advantage we are having in public cloud? So it will reduce the time, as then it will be again the cost efficient one. Again, it will be pay as you go model and it is a reliable also, right? So these are the advantage we are having for the public cloud. But what are the disadvantage? We have to concentrate on the disadvantage when we are choosing deployment model as a public cloud. The most concern in the public cloud is about the security. As per the definition, public cloud, so there is no any access control list. There is no access control list. Anybody can access the data, right? It is open for all. So how your data will be secure? How your data will be secure? So when you're thinking about the various business application, if you deploy that business application on public cloud, and if you are having that finance related data on the public cloud, so as your data will be secure. So that is a major constraint in the public cloud. The security is less. Then there is an instability is also there because it is a public cloud. The things change many times. Then you are having a less customizable. So as it is a public cloud, you can have that customization option. So whatever available, you have to use that one. You cannot choose according to your requirement. Say for example, for any deployment of any application, if you required a machine with 8 GB of RAM, 8 GB of RAM, right? If it is not available on public cloud, in a public cloud, it is available 16 GB of RAM, right? So you can't customize it. Whatever the available, you have to use that, right? So less customizable. So these are the disadvantage you are having for the public cloud. Then there will be the private cloud. Okay? So here in private cloud, again, the name itself implies. So here we are having a boundary. If you compare this diagram with the previous one, here there is a boundary, right? We are putting a boundary over there, and through that boundary, we can put access control list. Who can use and who cannot. Who can use and who cannot. So in a private cloud, we can store our data and we can have a privilege to put a boundary for that, for accessing that resources, who can use and who cannot, right? So this is about the private cloud. What are the disadvantages? Before that, it is specially designed for businesses, organization, and safety needs. To develop high-scale and standardized applications. Then it will provide access to authorized users to improve data control and data protection. So when you are having such a type of requirement, you can deploy your application on private cloud. So what advantage? Definitely, if it is a private one, you can have a customizable option. You can have a customizable option. Then it will be high secure and it is better reliable as compared to your public cloud, right? Public cloud is also reliable, but when it comes to the public part, the reliability may get compromised. So it will be private cloud will be better reliable as compared to public cloud. Then the disadvantage, we are having that accessibility and the maintenance cost. So accessibility means we are putting the boundaries over there for the private cloud, and we are putting the access control list also. We are specifying access control list, who can access and who cannot. Fine. So that is again an disadvantage for your private cloud. And the maintenance cost, as it is a private one, you are the whole and sole responsible for all these things. So the maintenance cost is more in a private cloud. Now the third deployment model come into the picture, that is an hybrid cloud, right? So again, concentrate on the name. The name itself implies it's hybrid. That means it is a combination of public and private. It has having the features of public as well as private. It is having the features of public as well as private one. So what features of public and what features of private you are having, right? So in a hybrid cloud, we are having a privilege that whatever the data we want to secure or whatever the resources we want to be secure, or it should be protected one, that we can put on private cloud. And whatever the data that should be applicable or accessible publicly, that we can put on the public cloud, right? So that advantage we are having in the hybrid cloud. The simple example is Amazon one, right? So Amazon e-commerce website you are considering. So whatever the items they are selling, whatever the item they are selling, they put all that catalog on the public cloud, so that it will be accessible to every user. They can search and they can do the shopping public, right? So they all these are put on the public cloud. But the data related to the customer or the employee of the Amazon, then the financial that financial details of Amazon, all these things are, so we can say it is a very sensitive data. So at the confidential also, so they put all these things on the private cloud, right? They put all this data on the private cloud. So when you are having such a type of requirement, you can go for hybrid cloud, and whatever the data or the resources you want to be public, so put it on the public one. And whatever the data and resources you want to be more secure, put it on the private cloud. And when it is a private cloud, you can set the boundary. You can put the access control list, and you can authenticate the user who can use and who cannot. Right? So this is a hybrid cloud. So it is used for control to access, as I explained you. Then it will use for storing sensitive and non-sensitive data both, right? So like an Amazon, again same for the Facebook also, right? So whatever that web application, that login page, it is applicable, or it is on the public cloud. Anybody can visit there, register over there, create a registration, and create a page over there. So that is the publicly available. But whatever the credential that user having, their personal code, their personal information, it is stored on the private cloud, and that we have a provision that what should be available to to the public and virtual public, right? So this is your hybrid cloud. So what advantage we are having? The first advantage we are having for hybrid cloud, it is flexibility and control. Then there will be the cost efficiency and the reliable one. So these are the three advantage we are having. What is disadvantage? The compatibility. That is the major issue with the hybrid cloud, because we are having both the one, that the private as well as the public one. Then the performance is less as compared to private and public cloud. And the next issue that we are having, that is an integration one. That is an integration, how we can integrate that application either with the public cloud or with the private cloud, right? So these are the various disadvantage for the hybrid cloud. Next, that is an community cloud. So the community cloud is specially designed for those who are having a similar thinking. So they can form their community, and they can have their own community cloud, and they can store their resources, they can store their data over there, and they can access from there, right? So this is your community cloud. So community cloud, it is a community, it is nothing but a group of organization who are having the similar thinking or a similar thought process. Say for example, some are working for social welfare, right? So this is social welfare, it is a community one. And the people who are having the same thought process about the social welfare, so they can join that community, they can design their own cloud, they can store or deploy their application over there, store their data over there, and those people can access that data, right? Again, they have the provision what data should be available publicly and what not. So that is about the community cloud. So advantage, it is a secure one, cost efficient. It is again a flexible and scalable one. Then infrastructure sharing. Is it a community one? So infrastructure sharing. So for example, various educational institutes come together, form one community cloud, and they can deploy all their infrastructure on the cloud. So it will be accessible to all the educational community. So the infrastructure sharing there will be, but disadvantage is slow adoption. Then there will be the fixed bandwidth, and it is complex to design the community cloud deployment model, and it is not suitable for all. Not suitable for all, because the community itself means the similar thinking. If there is no matching of thinking, your application cannot be deployed, and you can't able to access the data or the resources which are available on the community cloud, right? So this is about the deployment model, how we can deploy your application or our application on the cloud. Either we can deploy on a public cloud, or we can deploy on a private cloud, or we can deploy it on a hybrid cloud, or we can deploy it on a community cloud. So it is as per our requirement. You have to wisely choose either of the deployment model. Next is the service model. So these are the three basic service models provided by the cloud computing. The first is infrastructure as a service, software as a service, and the platform as a service. So we will see one by one. The first, I will start as an infrastructure as a service. So what that infrastructure means? So the infrastructure, whatever the servers you are having, whatever the machines you are having, right? Whatever the storage structures you are having, what are the network components we are having, so or what are the different operating systems you are having. So this is comes under a category infrastructure. So infrastructure as a service, cloud will provide the virtual instance of all these resources. Cloud computing, in a cloud computing, under the category infrastructure as a service, cloud provider will provide you the virtual instances of all these resources. like servers, the virtual machine, the storage, network, and operating system, right? So there's an example of infrastructure as a service. It is a virtual machine, or if you that AWS, it is an EC2. The name of the service is EC2, that is Elastic Cloud Compute. Elastic Cloud Compute, right? In Amazon, sorry, in Microsoft, it is the virtual machine. They call it as a virtual machine. In that, you are getting a CPU with some uh, physical, some configuration like 8 GB of RAM, dual core CPU, or 4 to dual CPU, 2 CPUs, 3 CPUs, 8 CPUs, like this. Some SSD, some hard disk, and all these things, right? So they will provide you the virtual infrastructure, right? So the like storage, the servers, the network, and operating system. So that is come under the infrastructure as a service. Then next, that is an platform as a service. So here in platform as a service, we are getting the ready-made platform to deploy our application, right? So here we are providing the the platform to host a web application. They can provide a platform to host your database, right? And maybe the SQL, NoSQL database, right? So these are the various platforms are available. So that is a platform as a service. Then next is that is an software as a service. So here we are getting a ready-made software. We can use that software without bothering of anything, whatever the hardware they are having, whatever the platform they are using, what are the how to deploy that, how to build that, nothing. So here we are getting a ready-made software. We have to use that one as per our requirement, right? So the simple example for software as a service, that is Microsoft Office 365, then Salesforce, then Gmail, and the Dropbox. So these are the software as a service. Now this diagram is very important. That will compare between all these services, and the idea will be more clear. Right. So whatever you are getting over here, so this is about on-premises. Okay. So on-premises, that means in the start of the session we discussed about the typical data center, right? So this is about that on-premises one. So we are having a physical infrastructure, right? Then we are having the network. We have to use virtualization, the guest OS, the application data, and the various applications. When you come to the infrastructure as a service, the cloud provider. So in this diagram, the color that yellow shows cloud service provider responsibility. So it will provide you the physical infrastructure, then the network, and the virtualization, right? On top of that, we can use your guest operating system. You can run your application. You can access the data from that, and you can have that user access and identity also. That is your infrastructure as a service. Here it is a platform as a service. So here operating system or the platform is also available, and it will be provided by the cloud provider. It is also maintained by that cloud provider only. What you have to do, only we have to run your application, you have to take care of your data, and you have to take care of your user accesses and the identity. Then there will be the software as a service. In software as a service, everything will be managed by the cloud service provider. Your physical infrastructure, the network, the virtualization, the guest OS, and the application. What you have to do, you have to access that one, and you can have that user access and identity, right? So these are the two responsibility of the customer. Rest of the thing will be used by, rest of the thing will be managed by the cloud provider. Rest of the thing managed by the cloud provider. Now, simple analogy I will tell you over here what it is, right? So everybody is quite familiar with the Swiggy app, right? And pizza, I think pizza is the most famous, or we can say most like food, right? So everybody like the pizza, I hope so. So what we are getting? So this on premises, when I want to eat pizza, right? But I don't have a cloud solution. I have on premises one. So the first I have to go to the market. I have to buy all the ingredients that are required to make the pizza. Then I will require the infrastructure also to bake that pizza. Like I will like kitchen and the microwave oven also. And then I have to bake the pizza. So everything will be managed by my or by me. Everything will be managed by me or by the customer one. So that customer has to visit the market, collect all the ingredients, whatever required to prepare a pizza. Then the infrastructure to bake that pizza, that various toppings, the spices, and all these things. And then that customer has to bake the pizza, and then it will be ready for use. Right. So this is the on-premise. But when you're shifting slowly towards the cloud environment, so when you're moving towards the infrastructure as a service, what we are getting, so we are having this infrastructure, that kitchen and microwave oven over there, and you can buy that ready-made food, ready to cook food, right? And you can only just heat in your oven, and that food will be available to eat, right? So here, what we are getting in platform as a service. So you visit the hotel, and you go there. They are having their infrastructure. They are having their own kitchen. They are having their own dining room where we can sit and we can have the pizza, right? So this is about. And here that is each that what we are having in the software as a service. You simply go to the Swiggy application, order your pizza. It will be delivered at your doorstep, and you have it, right? So nothing was to worry about what are the infrastructure. You don't need to go there and access their rooms and all these things, right? So this is about the software as a service, software as a service. So these are the three different service model available on the cloud platform: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So in infrastructure as a service, you are getting the various virtual machine, the servers, and network. For if you're talking about the Amazon cloud, you will have the EC2 machine. In Microsoft Azure also, you are having a different virtual machine with different configuration that are available under the category infrastructure as a service. In platform as a service, you are getting the various platform to deploy your web application, to deploy your databases, right? So that is available under the platform as a service. So in Amazon Web Services or Amazon Cloud, under the platform as a service, we are having a Beanstalk, Elastic Beanstalk, where you can deploy your web application. For IBM also, there is an web application. You can deploy your web application. That platform is also available. Then we have in Amazon, we can have database as a service, DynamoDB. It is a service available. So we can deploy our database over there. RDS, relational database also, we can deploy our RDS instances over there under the category platform as a service. In the software as a service, a simple example like your Google Cloud or your Gmail application, right? So when you are using a Gmail application, you don't bother about the maintenance of that particular application. Even though you can't bother about the infrastructure or whatever required to run that application, right? Everything will be managed by the cloud provider. So the Gmail, that is a mail service offered by the Gmail. It is a good example of your software as a service. Then The next that is your virtual lab. So you can access various virtual lab to perform various application in your institute. So that is again a good example of software as a service. In that you are getting various platforms as per your requirement to execute your various experiment. You can perform the experiment over there. You can get the result and you can store the result over there, right? So this is your software as a service. This is your software as a service. So the main difference what you are getting in these three services is about what service provided by the cloud and what will be by the user's responsibility. For what user is responsible and for what the cloud is responsible. So infrastructure as a service, virtualization network and the various infrastructure it will be provided by the cloud. Here, along with the virtualization, the guest operating system, the platforms are also available here to deploy. And in software as a service, everything will be managed by the cloud service provider. Now the next that is the cloud cube model. This is an important model as far as security in cloud system. Right? So there is an open group association, Jericho Forum, and their focus is on how to protect and secure the cloud network. So that is an important. So they put forward a model that help to categorize the cloud network based on 4-dimension factor. So what are the 4 dimension? Let's take quickly. So here you are getting these 4 dimension. The first it is internal and external, right? So it is about the location of the data, how you store your data, right? Whether it will be where you are storing that data, internal or external. What it means? So when you're storing your data on the private cloud, that means it is internal. When you're storing your data outside the private cloud, that is an external one. So you have to choose wisely where to store your data. It doesn't mean when you're storing your data internally it's safe, and when you're storing your data externally it's unsafe. Not at all. It's not true. Right? So even there are many cyber crimes or cyber crises happen where your internal data is also get happen. So basically, this first parameter, it is the location of the data where you can store, how you can store. Either you can store internally, that means at your private cloud, or externally, that is outside your private cloud. Okay. Then the next parameter that is about the proprietary and open one. So whatever the software you are using, it is about that is a proprietary one. That means it is authenticate or it is there is some owner is there for that and all these things. So whatever the patches you are getting, that will be through that owner only. And this is a proprietary one. And the second one is an open source. So which type of softwares you are using, whether it will be the open source one and the proprietary one. The third parameter that is the free parameterized and the parameterized one. So parameterized means you have to put a boundary for your application, and through that you can have who can access that and who cannot, right? So the parameterized means whatever the data you are putting inside the boundary. Parameterized, that means it is available outside the on boundary. That is the third one. Then the next that is an outsource and in-source open data. Okay? So whatever the applications you are building, whether you are outsourcing that one or you are building your own application, So that is the fourth parameter that you are having into the cube model. So in this cube model, you are having these 4 parameters. External, that is the location of the data, that is external, internal. Then the ownership of the data, it is a proprietary one or it is an open source one. Then here we are putting the physical boundary for the location, and then the how we can build it, whether you can outsource it and insource it, right? The simple example, when you design any web application, and in that web application, if you are having a payment option, so you can directly use whatever the ready-made payment gateway is available, that is your outsource. And in source, you have to design your own gateway, provide the security model for that, and build or integrate that gateway, payment gateway to your application. So that is an in source. So these are the different uh, parameters that you have to consider when you want to secure your cloud, when you want to secure your cloud. The first, the physical location of data, then the ownership of that data or that application, then the put the boundaries and how you can build that, whether you can doing the outsourcing for that or whether you are build at your own. So this is your cloud cube model, which is very important as far as your security is concerned. So once you follow these four parameters, and if you choose wisely the parameters from these, right? So your cloud may be more secure, or the data, whatever the data you're storing on the cloud will be secure. Then cloud service provider. These are the different cloud service provider. The first is AWS. As you know, this is a very can say the prominent one and most famous cloud service provider, that is an Amazon Web Services. Then there will be the Microsoft Azure, the Google Cloud, and IBM. There are lot many cloud service provider available in the market right now. There are Heroku is there, then Salesforce is there. Lot many service providers are there, but these are the most famous and prominent one which will provide these services. So AWS provide infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Even though Microsoft Azure also they will provide, and Google also, and IBM also. So these are the different service provider who will provide you the different cloud services as I explained now. Then service provided by AWS. The first service provided by AWS, that is an compute service. In that you are getting various virtual machine. In that you are getting the various virtual machine with various configuration. You can have that various configuration and you can choose according to your requirement, right? So with various flavors of operating system also. You can have Linux, various flavors of Linux, then the Microsoft, then Mac OS, right? So these are under the category the compute. Then there will be the database. So AWS provide database as a service. In that AWS provide SQL and NoSQL both the database service, right? So the service, the name of the service which is available for SQL database, that is an RDS, relational database service. In that you can have different database engine like MySQL, then MariaDB, then SQL, right? So these are the various engines available in SQL database, right? In NoSQL database, you are having DynamoDB, which is an NoSQL database. You can store your NoSQL databases over there in the DynamoDB. So these are the service offered by the AWS. Then in the storage structure, that AWS having all type of storage structure like your block storage, object storage, and the file storage. All the three storage structured we are having on the AWS, that block storage, then file storage, and the object storage. So when you come to the file storage, so we are having EFX, that is for Linux, and FSX for your Windows. It is there, right? That block storage volumes you can add and detach, that are the ones there. And then there will be the object storage, which is called as an S3 bucket, right? So in S3 bucket, you can have, you can store your object, and there are two different type of encryption we are having. Either you can have client side encryption, or you can have server side encryption. What is the difference over there? Client side encryption, so whatever the data that client is storing, that client has to encrypt, and then it will be uploaded in the S3 bucket. In server side encryption, whatever the data uploaded by the client, the cloud provider or that AWS will encrypt that data, and then it will be stored in the S3 bucket. Again, they are using the most prominent or the latest encryption standard to encrypt the data, So that is the storage. Then there will be the network one. So in network, they are having the VPC. It is called as an virtual private cloud. You can build your own virtual private cloud. In that, you can design the public subnet as well as private subnet, so that you can put your data either to public, accessible to the public, or not accessible to the public. So that means you can store your data on the private subnet so that it will be accessed by the limited user. Right? So that is it. Then come to the security as a service. So the Amazon provide the security through different services. Like there is a first service offered by the Amazon for the security, that is identity and access management. Identity and access management, that is IAM. So in that we can have various, we can put the various, defines the users, we can provide the roles to the users, and we can provide or we can assign the policies to the user, what they can access and what they cannot. Right? So that is an identity and access management. In that, you can put the policy for user of multi-factor authentication also. So you can use multi-factor authentication to authenticate the respective user who are going to use your services from the AWS. That is also the service offered by the AWS under the category identity and access management. Identity and access management. So that is security one. Then there will be the web application firewall also. So you can set the web application firewall for your application, and you can protect your data. There is also the shield is also there. Amazon shield is there. Data protector is there. So lot many services available under the category of security. So this is about the fundamentals of cloud computing. So if you want to explore more services, you kindly visit Amazon Web Service console. There is a provision to register for free tier. You can access it for 1 hour, sorry, for 1 year, and you can explore all these services over there, right? So this is all about the cloud fundamentals. So if you are having any query, please like me know. I will try to answer the question. Vedant?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's over from my side.
Actually, I was just reading the YouTube chats, and it's such a great session that everyone is getting the contents, and no one has asked a single doubt till now. So
Okay, fine. It's
that
good. Yeah. So
that
they
was a
can
great
connect
thing.
you. Yeah, they can connect me on the LinkedIn also as Kital Gawande. If they search on that LinkedIn, they will found me over there. And if you are having any query over there, you can ask. But my request to all the participants, please go through all these concepts, what we learned today, because tomorrow's session is very important. And this is a prerequisite for tomorrow's session. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for delivering such a amazing content and your valuable time. That's the most important part. So for all the audience and attendees, we have shared the quiz link in YouTube chats and have also pinned it. You can find the quiz in it. It will be accepting responses for the next 20 minutes. I will be sharing the timer right now on the screen for the next 20 minutes. Yeah, in the meanwhile, if anyone is having any doubts, please post it in the YouTube chats so that ma'am can respond to it. In the meanwhile, ma'am, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. In the meanwhile, while nobody is asking about questions, it was a really well driven session with a lot of examples in from real world. So it was really great to understand it. It was really easy. So I am heavily doubting that someone will be having a doubt on this. So I would like to know your journey about exploring the uh, cloud computing part. Like, where did you get to get it started from?
So I started cloud computing journey 4 years back. Okay, when I got an opportunity to taught this particular subject. Uh, Foundation was there, no doubt, because my domain is computer network. I have some knowledge about the operating system also. So computer network, it is a foundation for cloud computing. So I took the challenge to taught the cloud computing subject. And when I start, so it will be quite difficult for me because all the terminologies are new, right? So, and after that, once I start learning, and after that, there will be the COVID. So the resources are also limited. I can't access my institute system and all these things so that I can have the hands-on session and I can make a practice for more like virtualization and the hypervisor, how it works, how to configure the virtual machine and all these things. So it will be challenging for me, but over the period, everything comes to the normal. We used to start visiting to college when infrastructure is available. So again, I explore all these things, how to create a virtual machine, how to deploy the various applications on that, and how to access the various services from Amazon Web Services. So my specialization in Amazon, but I don't know much about Microsoft Azure and Google one. I explore in the Amazon Web Services only, and I design various architectures and I deploy that architecture on the Amazon cloud also. So how to connect to RDS system, and how to create a VPC, and in that VPC, how to access your private subnet from the public subnet, right? So when you're thinking about the private cloud, so private cloud, it is can say your security is low and you are having the least access to that. So when you deploy anything on the private cloud, say for example, your database server is on private cloud. So how you will getting a patches for that? If you are not getting the patches, that upgradation is required, and if you are not getting that upgradation patches for your database, so your web application will not work, right? So that is a challenge. So again, I find out the solution for that. And I try to connect to that instance via public subnet so that I can make the changes or I can upgrade my private instance which is in there on the private cloud. So slowly I started working on that. Again, I explored with the storage structures also. What are the different storage structure available? How the EFX work? How the IAM work? How we can have the different rules? How we can define the various policy? How we can customize the policies for the different users? So this way I I explore it, and now I can say I have 50%, 60% success. I got the success to deploy any application on Amazon Web Services. I'm talking with respect to Amazon Web Services about my journey to cloud computing.
That
And
was amazing.
yeah, and it is very interesting. When I started, it looked some boring because I don't have any idea about that background and all these things. But once I start learning, it's quite interesting.
Actually, one of our attendees is having a question that can you tell about the IBM Cloud Advocate certification?
No, as I explained, told you, no. So I my
Yeah.
specialization is AWS only. So you can visit IBM Cloud official website, and in that you may get details about that.
So,
That is
for sure, you've been a professor in such a reputed college, so you must have trained a lot of young minds. So, what has been the most effective certification out there that has helped students gain a place in the this
yeah,
emerging industry?
yeah. For beginner, there is a practice. The practitioner is a certification that beginner has to do. And after that, once they complete all this and they got some experience in cloud computing domain, after that they can go for the cloud architecture. And after that, they can go for the cloud security. Right? So this way they can start the journey, go from the practitioner. In practitioner, they have to start with exploring the small services available in the cloud, like storage services, database services, then IAM services, the security services. Once they have a hands-on on that, and they are a little bit confident that they can use any services on cloud one, they can explore, go for the architecture one, and after that they can go for the security one, because nowadays the cloud security is the most demanding situation, because everyone is moving their data to the cloud. So when you're storing your data or everything on the cloud, the security is the important concept, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so you can
and
explore in cloud security also.
in
And
fact, IoT is also using the cloud architecture at most
yeah,
platform
yeah,
of the
most
times.
platform, and in between that there is a one layer that is called as an fog computing between your IoT and the
Yeah.
cloud computing. There is a one layer that is an fog computing, which will help you to access of that data very quickly, and you can have that your competition will be quick when you are using the fog computing one. So that is again a new era that you can explore.
Yeah. There is also a question stating is DSA important for cloud security engineer?
DSA,
Yeah.
data center. What is that DSA stand for?
Um, I'm not sure actually what it is standing for.
What is
Actually,
the question? What is the question?
is DSA important for cloud security engineer?
Though when it is say the data structured and analysis of algorithm, as I know that if it is
Yeah,
there,
exactly.
if it is there, it doesn't. Data structured and algorithm is not required. What you required when you're dealing with the cloud security, your computer network and operating. These are the two foundations. These are the two basic. So you know thoroughly the computer network. What your NAT means, what is your VPN, how you can design a VPN, how the tunneling will be there, what are the different protocols are you, how you can secure, what are the different encryption standards you will have. So that is important. So when you are dealing with cloud security, so first you require the thorough knowledge of computer network, operating system, and the third one is cryptography and network security. These three are the essential.
Also, there is a question asking if there like AWS has a lot of free courses out there on the academy. So, is it possible to learn mitigation on cloud with AWS for free? Do they have a course for the same?
Yes, yes. You can visit that AWS console. You will getting there is a tab called certification and documentation. You will getting the details about that. Again, I will suggest when you want your career in cloud security, register yourself at TryHackMe, and there are a lot of rooms available for cloud security. They include the pen testing about the AWS EC2 also. So that will be beneficial for you. So before that, first you have to explore all this. What is EC2, how you can create an EC2 instance, and this one, and then you will have that security. First, you have to understand the basic one. So TryHackMe, on TryHackMe, there are various rooms available for cloud security also. They are at some easy level and some are at a medium level also. So you can explore that.
Actually, I read the question wrong. It wasn't mitigation; it was migration to AWS from local server to AWS.
Yeah, this is there. Migration here. Everything is there on the AWS official website. So if you go for the Amazon Web Service console, it will give you the detail about the everything. That migration from your on-premises infrastructure to the AWS cloud also.
Okay. Actually, AWS has been doing a great job with the academy. I have.
Yeah,
So
there is
it's,
a AWS Educate that is a virtual lab available for by the AWS. So you can practice on that. It is totally free.
uh,
AWS Educate. AWS Educate.
okay. If you can share the link for the same in chat window so that we can share it in YouTube chats for the attendees. Also, like question from my end, like what I have observed during the session was that you like referring to the real life examples a lot. So, is it something that helped you by during understanding phase a lot, and you would like to say something about this to the attendees and who are new to learning cloud, the real life examples and its connections?
For what?
Like during learning, how relating to
Yeah,
real life examples is
yeah.
necessary.
During learning, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it will help you a lot. It will help you to remember the concept. That is, if you have that analogy about any concept now, you will be, it will be easy for you to understand that concept and remember that.
And we got the update about DSA that is actually standard for data structures and
Algorithm. Yeah. But that is not required for cloud security. For cloud security, the important point is computer network, operating system, and your cryptography and network security. In computer network, you're getting a basic concept of how your IP addresses work, how the MAC address, and all these things. How the network, that is network address translation, right? How the masquerading attack will happen using the network address translation, or how you can protect your network using that. So that will be there. In operating system, how your virtualization, memory management, and all those things. So that is also required as for your security. And the cryptography, you are getting various encryption standards, standards like SHA, DSA, AES, then MD5, then your hash function and all these things. So that will help you to secure your identity in the cloud. So that is important, not data structure.
actually data structures has been something that as a freshers, when someone is doing BTech, they usually focus during the interview rounds. So it is quite something to keep in mind that it's not necessary everywhere. Like during the interviews, it helps a lot for the technical round, but for cloud, it doesn't seems to have a lot of value in that
Yeah,
domain.
definitely. When I again repeating, when you want to that security, whether it will be your information security, whether it will be your network security, whether it will be your system security, or whether it will be your cloud security, these are the three different pillars: that network, operating system, and cryptography. So whatever the DSA and URE, that is for application. How you
Yeah.
build your application work and how easily it will. So that is for your AWS Educate. I posted that over. So if you search in the browser,
Okay.
yeah, you will getting a link. It is totally free. You can register over there and you can try for AWS. So you can easily create various EC2 instances. You can create your S3 bucket. You can upload a data in S3 bucket. You can do the encryption for that, right? So these are the small things you can practice in AWS Educate.
So I guess that's all for the questions. Is there anything else that, as a leaving note, you would like to leave with us, the students or the learners, that can help us in the longer run?
1 minute. I have posted the link AWS Educate. The link also I have posted. So my message to the learner, as you choose security as a domain, so the security it will take lots of hard work. Along with that, you will require the patience also. 99 times you will fail, and there will be the probability that one time you will get the success. So it doesn't mean you should give up, right? So you have to try hard and study more, explore your knowledge, lots of e-content available on the network. Instead of doing or wasting your time on Instagram and Facebook Reel, search for various uh, educational website where you can explore your knowledge with respect to the security. Spend your some time on try hack me to explore the various rooms in the security. So, okay? And all the best for your drive.
Thanks a lot for your time and your sharing your experience with us, ma'am. That was really wonderful hearing from you.
Yeah, thank you. It's
Thanks.
great. Thank you for participating also. Thank you very much. Thank you, CSI, for giving me the opportunity to explore the knowledge and present was. Right. So thank you very much. Shall I exit?
Yes, ma'am. And also, we will be closing the quiz link now as it is past 20 minutes now. So, thank you, everyone.